Truck driver vanished in 1997. 26 years later, gas station owner makes shocking discovery. And long-haul trucking routine is religion. On March 15, 1997, a veteran Colorado driver broke his own commandments and vanished without leaving so much as a tire groove. To the older hands who still swap road tails at the Johnson's Corner Diner off I-25, Tommy Morrison was the gold standard of North American freight culture. Age 34, rig blue, 1994, Peterbilt, 379, straight pipe roar you could pick out of a convoy by ear, record, 12 perfect DOT inspections, 0 late loads, 0 moving violations. Tommy's CB handle was blueprint because everything he did ran on plans, printed, highlighted, double-checked. At 05 Zoe 0, every haul morning you could set your watch by 3 things in northern Colorado. 1. The sunrise washing over the Front Range. 2. The hiss of fresh coffee at Flying J pumps. And 3. Morrison's steel-toed boots thudded a precise circle around his truck while he performed the most meticulous pre-trip inspection this side of Fort Carson's motor pool. He hauled electronics from Denver to Phoenix twice a week, 140 miles round trip of high desert pine pass and Navajo sandstone highway. And every night at 21 TO 0 sharp, wherever he was, rest area 26 near Trinidad or the Dusty Shoulder outside Gallup, Tommy phoned his wife Sarah. Same word, same minute hand, made my miles, hun. You and the boys lock up. Catch you tomorrow. 12 years marching to that ritual, not once in skipped. Mile marker, 95, manifest, perfect. March 15th, 1997, 05:47 a.m., Mountain West Freight Terminal. Denver, manifest, Nasdert 315 Azio 43 crates of consumer VCR decks declared value $127,000. Destination Dock Phoenix, Arizona West Valley Electronics. Trailer seals photographed, logged, and padlocked. A security camera caught Tommy's routine tug on every strap kick, each 24-ply Michelin, then a relaxed 2-finger salute to night guard Mike Patterson as he rolled toward the chain link exit. GPS pings 0615 southbound I-25. Mountain West had just installed a Qualcomm OmniTrack satellite box, 1997's cutting edge. Dispatch could see blueprint update every 30 minutes on green-black DOS screens. At dawn, the pings looked textbook 07:15 a.m. lat, Long Castle Rock status 59 mph, on schedule. 07:45 Monument Hill 57 mph, all good. I-08:15 Pueblo Split 61 mph, on schedule. Tommy even keyed CB Channel 19 to wish southbound drivers safe wheels. Everything you'd expect from a model trucker. Until lunchtime, 11:47 a.m. Omnitrax plotted Tommy 4 miles northwest of Walsenburg, Colorado, a ranch town where the Front Range gives way to Spanish Peaks country. 30 seconds later, the green dot blinked out not faded, not lost to cloud-covered dead. Tech support would later testify that only 2 things could kill that military-grade transponder: catastrophic hardware destruction or a deliberate sever of the antenna harness. The dispatch operator redialed the cab-mounted mobile phone. Straight to voicemail. She tried again at 12:0, again at 12:30. Nothing. Back in suburban Loveland, Sarah Morrison spent the day wrangling their twin 9-year-olds, expecting the nightly 21 Juriro call. When the clock rolled past 21:05, then 21:15, Sarah's stomach folded. At 21:30, she rang Mountain West. Dispatcher Janet Powell answered with a tension Sarah felt through the line. Mrs. Morrison, we've lost Tommy's tracker. Sarah flicked on the porch light, a porch that would glow for the next 26 years. At dawn, Colorado State Patrol Troop 2D scrambled an A-Star helicopter out of Pueblo. Pilots traced I-25 south, scanning ravines for blue sheet metal. Ground units checked every exit ramp, rest stop, and culvert. Nothing. No skid marks, no guardrail scars, no leaked diesel rainbow on the asphalt. It was as though 33,000 pounds of rig and cargo had teleported. Veteran trooper Ray Cowboy Kowalski muttered, "Trucks don't vanish, son. They get stolen or they crash." Yet there was no mayday, no debris, no stolen rig sightings on CB. For the next 72 hours, patrol cruisers widened the radius to gravel ranch roads and the shale gullies of La Veta Pass. Spring storms blew tumbleweed across their tire tracks, but no clue surfaced except silence. March 18, 1997, 10 p.m. Security camera at Mountain West Terminal captured a stranger in oil-stained coveralls pacing Tommy's vacated parking slot, measuring something with the heel of his boot. When questioned, he flashed a smile, claimed to be with the insurance assessors, then slipped off into the night before a badge check. Footage was grainy standard VHS, but enough to show he wasn't Mountain West staff. File marked. Incident. Noyu 97. Morrison 03. Priority low at the time. That tape would gather dust in a basement evidence locker, its importance unseen until decades later. Men who logged 1,000,000 miles before GPS glare still chew over the Morrison puzzle in rest area picnic bays. No wreckage on an open highway corridor. High-value electronics never fenced, not a single crate surfaced. Tracker blackout timed to the second. Tommy's peers, now gray-bearded, retired, leaning on chrome canes, know that a 45-foot rig doesn't just go missing. Yet that's exactly what the record showed, a living ghost mile. Old roads keep their secrets until progress or bad luck plows them up. In Part 2, A Widow's Faith, a string of phantom sightings and the slow rot of evidence will steer us deeper into a 1990s criminal underbelly that interstate regulars suspected but could never prove. When a rig the size of a small house disappears, rumor rushes in to fill the void. In the late 90s, truck stop circuit between Pueblo and Yuma, Tommy Morrison became both cautionary tale and campfire ghost. Sarah Morrison spent the spring of '97 driving an aging Ford Aerostar up and down I-25 with 2 boys and a stapler. She pinned missing driver, blue Peterbilt flyers on notice boards beside sermon schedules and calf roping posters. To every cashier, she repeated the same line: "If he bought coffee or fuel here, you'd remember he tips $1, no matter the bill." Some clerks lied to feel helpful. Most just shook their heads and wished her luck. Luck never came. What did come were sightings. August 1998, Laughlin, Nevada. A Greyhound passenger swore he'd spotted a blue 379 weaving through casino traffic. The driver wasn't Morrison, older gray stubble. May 1999, Gallup, New Mexico, Navajo jewelry vendor claimed the same rig took Route 66 frontage doors still stamped Mountain West. 2001, Nogales, Arizona Border Patrol camera caught a silhouette of a Peterbilt matching the VIN prefix trailer empty easing toward Mexico Gate 3 a.m., plate unreadable. Each report shot adrenaline through Sarah's chest. Each fizzled after local deputies arrived 5 minutes late or the camera image pixelated to soup. Detective Kowalski logged every tip on a wall map. Red pins for confirmed busts, yellow for maybes. By 2003, the board looked like measles across 4 states, painful dots, no pattern. Remember, this was pre-iPhone America. Fleet GPS was pricey cell coverage, patchy, and dash cams lived only in Japanese electronics magazines. An experienced thief could hotwire the Qualcomm box rewrote antennas or shove the entire tractor into a curtain-side trailer and vanish down gravel ranch roads. Colorado to Sonora smuggling outfits had done worse with less. FBI trucking crime analyst Ed Reuter Lamont lectured at a 2002 safety seminar in Dallas, "Steal the load, ditch the cab, repaint the steal. Drivers are the only hard part to hide unless you make them disappear too." Sarah was in the audience, only spouse among 50 Freightline managers. She stood during Q&A, voice steady. "If the driver is your husband, how long before the Bureau stops calling it cargo loss and starts calling it murder?" Silence thick as gear oil. Lamont flipped a page and had no answer. Through every candlelight vigil, one man stood shoulder to shoulder with Sarah Robert Bobby Hayes, Tommy's boyhood pal, now dispatch supervisor at Rocky Mountain Freight. He helped print flyers, arranged hot meal drop-offs, and sat on her porch each March 15th sharing high school dirt bike stories with the twins. Old-timers said grief bonds men tighter than war. Sarah believed it. Bobby called her sis. His shoulders were the safest place for her tears, or so everyone thought. Just outside Walsenburg Highway 160 skirts a weather-beaten shipping hall once owned by Desert Transport Solutions. After the '92 recession, the business folded, leaving a corrugated skeleton where kids sprayed graffiti and pronghorn sheltered from snow squalls. Locals joked the concrete floor was so cracked you could lose a boot in it. Zoning papers stalled, taxes lapsed. The county shrugged. Yet on certain moonless nights, ranch hands riding fences swore they saw truck headlights dip behind the structure, then wink out as if swallowed whole. By 2003, Troop 2D had burned through overtime and goodwill. Evidence lockers held only 5 grainy VHS tapes, A coffee thermos found near exit 64 proved unrelated, and 3 torn straps matching Mountain West inventory. With no crime scene, no body, the case sank beneath newer tragedies: Columbine fallout, 9/11 security shifts, meth explosions on the eastern plains. Detective Kowalski retired to Pueblo fishing license in hand, but the map of pins stayed rolled in his closet, a silent promise. Trucker lore aged like barrel whiskey. By 2010, rookies heard the Morrison yarn second or third-hand Blue Pete military tracker just poof, probably running black market microwaves to Juarez. Old dogs at Johnson's Corner slammed mugs down at that talk. They remembered Tommy's code, straight loads, honest miles. Still, every time a CB squawked with an unknown handle south of Rayton Pass, someone thought they heard Blueprint in the carrier whistle. Sarah, now remarried but still answering Morrison, legally lit her porch every March. She'd swapped the incandescent bulb for an LED, but the meaning stayed tungsten warm, path home still lit. Fast forward to March 2023. Maria Santos, 42, buys that derelict Walsenburg warehouse to expand her Crossroads Gas and Go. Day 1, foreman Jake Martinez drops the excavator bucket and feels steel bite steel 6 feet down. Blue paint flakes glimmer beneath the Colorado sun. For now, the ghost of mile marker 160 still rides the Sangre de Cristo wind, and a generation of drivers retires without knowing why a man who loved the road never reached Phoenix or home. If a grave is dug deep enough, the ground will keep its secret until commerce demands a parking lot. March 12th, 2023. 09:47 a.m., Walsenburg, Colorado. Maria Santos stood on a frost-brittle weed patch behind her Crossroads Gas and Go, and coffee steaming in gloved hands, watching Jake Martinez's yellow excavator chew toward a planned RV bay. 3 scoops in the bucket jolted against something unyielding. Jake killed the engine, climbed down, kicked aside earth, and froze. Familiar hue, Peterbilt, blue. Maria dialed 911 before the second sip of coffee cooled. By noon, Huerfano County deputies ringed the crater with yellow tape. They brushed dirt like archaeologists until chrome bumper trim glinted in the sun. Deputy camera flashes caught license plate MWW 4471. A to-be retired trooper whispered a name he hadn't voiced in 2 decades, Morrison. At Colorado State Patrol HQ in Lakewood, a clerk fetched box CS97-102, the Morrison file last signed out 2008. Notification climbed ranks to Special Agent Lisa Chen, FBI Denver Transportation Crimes Unit. She phoned retired Detective Ray Cowboy Kowalski in Pueblo. Ray, they just dug up a Blue Pete behind that old warehouse. Silence, plate matches. I'll be there before supper. Kowalski pulled the rolled-up map of red pins from his closet, the paper cracking like old joints. The warehouse, once Desert Transport Solutions, looked ready to collapse under prairie wind. Agent Chen's team donned Tyvek pushed inside. Dust motes twirled through rafters. Pigeon guano crusted the floor. In the northwest corner, tarps covered something suspiciously organized. MIG welder acetylene torches. Industrial paint booth with overspray in the exact cobalt shade of Morrison's cab, steel plates embossed with Ford Freightliner Kenworth Vian prefixes, half-ground identities in chemical purgatory. Ground-penetrating radar newer than anything Kowalski dreamt of in '97 swept the concrete pad. Screens bloomed with hollow rectangles, voids under a newer pour. Chen ordered core drilling. The bit punched through the brittle top slab into dirt that smelled of diesel and decades. Forensics lifted the Peterbilt cab in sections like recovering a sunken ship. Inside, nobody just rusted CB Spider-Man air freshener and blood-black stains on seat vinyl. Tech Ryan Geller popped the glove compartment, outslid a grease-spotted spiral page torn from a logbook. They're going to kill me. The warehouse has everything. T.M. Geller swallowed. He tried to tell us boss. Jackhammers peeled up the warehouse floor in a bruising January cold. Beneath burial pits, 4 stripped commercial vehicles, cargo doors, torn engines, missing frames, spray-blacked. Among them, a 53-foot trailer sealed since 1997. Bolts creaked as agents swung doors. Inside, shrink-wrapped cartons of Provision VCR's paperwork, still stapled value, once $127,000, now museum fodder. In pit number 3 lay skeletal remains wrapped in a driver's jacket from Mesa Express missing since '94. Dental records would confirm at least 3 additional victims, names briefly blinking across CB chatter, then forgotten. Chen rebuilt the timeline using cell transponder archives, defunct pager logs, and bank microfilm. Marcus Webb, security guard turned middleman, died 2011 in federal custody. Vincent Vinny Carrera, mechanic with cartel ties, gunned down Vegas 2008. Robert Bobby Hayes, age 56, still dispatching at Rocky Mountain Freight, living 40 miles from Sarah Morrison's porch light. Kowalski stared at Hayes' driver's license photo, same freckled grin from high school yearbook. The loyal friend, he muttered. Subpoenaed phone records revealed hundreds of late 90s calls from Hayes' landline to a payphone 2 blocks from the warehouse. Financials showed cash deposits timed with missing cargo dates. The clincher in Hayes' detached garage under fishing rods agents found a cigar box. Inside Tommy Morrison's wedding ring, Timex Iron Man, and a Polaroid Tommy and Bobby beside a '78 El Camino at prom night, keepsakes turned into trophies. April 3rd, 2023, 22:05 p.m. Floodlights pinned Bobby Hayes' brick bungalow. He opened the door and slippers, saw Kowalski's Stetson and Agent Chen's badge, and for the first time in 26 years stopped smiling. Indictment read, first-degree murder, racketeering, interstate theft conspiracy. Hayes sighed, whispered Tommy should have kept quiet, and offered no further statement. A week later, Sarah Morrison, now Sarah Williams, stood behind courtroom glass clutching her son's grown man arms as Hayes was denied bail. Reporters asked about the porch light. She said nothing, but that night she unscrewed the bulb and set it still warm on the mantel beside a folded Colorado DOT map. Tommy had come home, though, not the way prayers once pictured. An 18-wheel secret can rumble across 26 years of interstate blacktop, but in the end, it still has to park before a judge. Colorado 10th Judicial District, July 2023. Bobby Hayes entered courtroom 3A in a county-issued blazer that hid 30 extra pounds and a lifetime of deceit. Gray hair, comb-lined wedding band removed, he looked like any late middle-aged dispatcher until the evidence screens lit up. Prosecutor Marilyn Cho, brisk as fresh diesel, unpacked the case for a jury heavy with retired farmers, and one former Teamster DNA on the Peterbilt's passenger side vent glass matched Hayes. Bank records showed $18,500 in cash deposits 3 weeks after each hijack. Pager logs recovered from a 1999 drug bust, now digitized, mapped Hayes to secure codes used by Carrera's crew. And finally, the cigar box trophies Morrison's ring, Timex Polaroid, plus a torn Mesa Express logbook page from another victim. Defense counsel tried the old no body, no murder argument for Tommy at least. Cho countered by wheeling in a full-size mock-up of the Peterbilt cab bullet paths marked in neon dowels, Morrison's dried blood still encrypted in the seat springs. Body or no forensics tells the death, she said, tapping a dowel that pierced pretend vinyl. In the gallery, Sarah Williams kept spine straight but fingers white-knuckled. Her twin sons, now bearded linemen for Excel Energy, flanked her like silent bouncers. Retired trooper Ray Cowboy Kowalski took the stand in his Sunday Stetson. He recited the timeline he'd memorized more deeply than his wedding anniversary. When Cho asked why he'd kept the red pin map after retirement, his voice trembled for the first time in open court, because you don't quit on a man who never missed a mileage check. Jurors looked at the aging lawman, then at Hayes, who scribbled nothing. Deliberations lasted 1 hour and 48 minutes about the drive time from Denver to Walsenburg on a blue sky day. Verdicts: first-degree murder, guilty aggravated robbery, guilty racketeering under RICO. Guilty Judge Lenora Billings, who lost a brother to a drunk rig driver in '85, issued life without parole plus 120 years. She denied the customary allocution. Hayes had used up his words long ago. As marshals cuffed him, Hayes turned once toward Sarah, perhaps expecting a final look of forgiveness. She stared past him, eyes fixed on the state flag, blue, gold, red, unblinking. Within months, the Morrison revelation rolled across the North American freight industry like chain reaction brake checks on Vail Pass. Insurance Great Western underwriters added a betrayal addendum. Any internal employee found complicit in cargo theft voided the carrier's deductibles for 5 years. Technology Qualcomm, now part of Iridium, released OmniTrack Sentinel, a tamper alarm that triggers if a transponder harness is cut. The firmware codename Project Blueprint. Legislation Colorado Senate Bill 24-112 created a commercial driver alert and amber-style bulletin that pings way station signs and CB repeaters if a rig's tracker blinks out. Old-school truckers griped on Channel 19 more Big Brother on the dash. Then they'd pause, remember Morrison, and flip the privacy switch back on. With court behind her, Sarah drove to Walsenburg at dawn. The Crossroads Gas and Go garden was finished river rock bed, 4 blue spruce saplings, and a granite slab etched with a Peterbilt grill. She knelt, placed Tommy's polished Timex beneath the stone, and whispered, "Shift finished, driver." A convoy of rigs on I-25 downshifted for the hill. Air brake hiss sounded like an amen. That evening, she replaced the famous porch light bulb with a motion sensor, LED practical, not symbolic, and donated the incandescent original to the Colorado Trucking Museum, where it hangs beside the restored Peterbilt cab. Inside the Colorado State Patrol Academy rotunda, recruits file past a cutaway of Tommy's truck. The bullet holes have red backlighting, the glove box note enlarged to poster size. Sergeant Instructor Dalton ends every tour the same way. Ask yourself what you'd risk to do the right thing at 11:47 in the morning. Recruits leave quiet boots squeaking on polished terrazzo. Autumn Toad 24, Johnson's Corner, diner hosts a blueprint memorial breakfast. 50 gray-haired drivers nurse black coffee swap analog hacks. Photograph your cargo seals with that new flip-open Nokia. Set a code word check-in with dispatch. Keep a spare tracker inside the sleeper cab where thieves miss it. No one mentions aliens or Bermuda Triangle portals anymore. The Morrison file replaced myth with method, fear with procedure. Ray Kowalski donates the red pin map to the state archive, but first he adds one last pin gold centered on Walsenburg. The label reads, "Truth dug here, 2023. He signs the bottom cases, "Don't die. They idle." He drives his base boat to Pueblo Reservoir Stetson, tipped low scanner off. The over 65 crowd knows routes by smell creosote after Flagstaff rain pine tar near Monarch Pass. They also know your own crew can blindside you quicker than black ice. Morrison's fate tickles that unease, but ends with closure, a justice curveball they rarely see. For the widowers and grandfathers who line up pills by day of week, the Morrison saga isn't just tragedy, it's validation that patient gumshoeing still counts in a GPS world, and that no matter how many miles lie behind a man's handshake, word remains cargo more valuable than any pallet of VCRs. Tommy Morrison's killer went to prison, but the echoes of that blue Peterbilt kept rattling America's freight lanes like loose chains in an empty trailer. Old drivers, regulators, even Silicon Valley coders found themselves rerouting because one man never made Phoenix. Within weeks of the 2023 verdict, CB Channel 19, dismissed for decades as hiss, and profanity crackled with a new salutation blueprint check copy. An operator who answered copy rolling safe confirmed 2 things. 1. His truck's tracker was live, and 2. He'd listened to the 8-part podcast The Silent Phones that the younger kin forced onto his smartphone. Men pushing 70 who once ridiculed earbuds now let grandkids wire Bluetooth into Freightliner dashboard so they could hear Tommy's tale between Amarillo and Abilene. Some cursed the host's dramatic music, but none denied the punch. Your logbook outlives your heartbeat. Make sure it says the right things. Western Tech Diesel Institute in El Paso rewrote its hazmat course. Module 1, Basic Air Brake Theory. Module 2, Hours of Service Law. Module 3, Morrison Integrity Drill students. Many young vets with sleeve tattoos must now simulate a hijack cutoff south of Walsenburg Radio. A blueprint code read soft pull to shoulder ping dual GPS beacons. Hide a thumb drive copy of the manifest in a dashboard vault and phone dispatch on encrypted VO IP. Old instructors grin at the theatrics, but admit the exercise keeps rookies' eyes scanning mirrors instead of TikTok. Sarah took settlement money, added her modest bakery savings, and launched Porchlight Trust, a 501c3 that buys Garmin InReach minis in bulk. Her rule, they go only to single-rig owner-operators, the graybeards who still prefer paper atlases and payphone memories. At first, some refused the spy gadget, but when she mailed each unit with a hand-signed note and a photo of Tommy's rig beneath warehouse rubble, acceptance rates jumped to 82%. One Arkansas hauler returned a Polaroid of the device clipped next to a St. Christopher metal "Ma'am, your light rides shotgun now." In November 2024, the Senate Subcommittee on Surface Transportation held a hearing titled "Invisible Miles Protecting Drivers' Cargo and Supply Chains After Morrison vs. Hayes." Ray Kowalski pressed suit too tight at the caller addressed senators half his age. "Sir," he told the chair, "we spend billions on ports and pipelines, yet a dispatcher with a pager almost undid an industry. Maybe fund 1 forensic unit per state before you fund the next smart road." The resulting Highway Integrity Act of 2025 earmarked $120 million for a national database cross-linking missing drivers, cargo thefts, and suspicious VIN re-registrations. For the first time since Jimmy Carter deregulated trucking, old-timers felt D.C. actually listened. Maria Santos finished her expansion by paving the warehouse footprint with fresh asphalt. She painted one parking stall deep blue, bordered in white reflective tape, and stenciled TM 0397. No rig may park there, company policy. Instead, weathered drivers step down tug ball caps and lay a silver dollar on the wheel stop. By summer, the strip gleams like scale house lights. 3 times a year, Maria sets out a folding table with free black coffee for anyone who signs the guest log. Entries run: Blueprint, you still lead the way, Jimmy R. Kenworth 8937 wires OTR still double-check my glove box. Red Dog Ontario volunteers from Wyotech's vintage rig program spent 2,400 hours restoring Tommy's Peterbilt tractor. Paint matched exactly. Bullet holes remain sealed under a clear coat. The rig tours county fairs atop a drop deck escorted by motor patrol units. Kids climb the steps, push the Jake brake switch disabled, and listen to a ranger narrate. This cab proves evil riding shotgun when good men stay quiet. Retired drivers swipe moisture from their eyes, claiming it's dust from the arena. The FBI's new Freight Cold Case Task Force started with files left in the same basement Tommy's once occupied. Advances in paint spectroscopy and ground-penetrating radar linked 2 other missing cargo cases to remote desert lots in New Mexico. One yielded a tractor with the engine number ground in Carrera's distinctive pattern. Families who had lost hope in 1988 suddenly got phone calls. Ma'am, we may have located your brother's rig. Not all leads pan out, but each fresh dig. Chips rust from old hearts. Drivers compare notes at truck stop booths. Maybe they'll find Marty out of Lubbock next. Hope becomes an industry commodity again. Inside Colorado State Penitentiary, Bobby Hayes works laundry at 20 cents an hour. Letters arrive monthly, mostly unsigned postcards depicting blue Peterbilts. Prison staff intercept them, but Hayes knows the shade. He hasn't requested parole privileges. He has no illusions about breathing Western air again. On the anniversary of Tommy's death, the prison chaplain reads Hayes a verse about betrayal. Hayes reportedly stares into middle distance, then folds towels until lights out. RP surveys show an odd blip: men 65 plus doubled their smartphone adoption between 2023-25. Analysts attribute the spike partly to telehealth, partly to Blueprint Alerts, a free app mirroring CB check-ins. When a tracker goes dark for more than 10 minutes on a major route, the app pings nearby volunteers retirees who still wander America in RVs. They scan rest areas, note suspicious rigs, and radio details to State Patrol. 2 attempted cargo heists have already been thwarted. Retired driver Bill Sidewinder Pratt, 71, sums it up at the Grand Island Diner. The government finally gave grandpas a reserve badge. Feels right. By late 2025, Sarah Williams began penning a memoir working title, Porch Light Miles. She writes at dawn longhand, facing the Rockies Tommy used to crest before his nightly call. The dedication page is short. For every driver who hits, send location tonight, and the loved one waiting to hear the ping. Her advance check. She splits it half to Porch Light, trust half to Walsenberg's first ever truck driver scholarship at the community college. 5 legs down one final stretch remains. Part 6 will settle into the sunset lanes, what unresolved mysteries linger, how old roads echo after justice, and why Tommy Morrison's story keeps a generation of veterans scanning mirrors as the odometer rolls past 3 million. All highways thin into 2 gray ribbons at dusk, one running out under the hood, the other folding backward through the mirror. A quarter century after Tommy Morrison missed Phoenix, both ribbons finally met at mile 0. Yes, the FBI still keeps a shelf marked Open Driver Unresolved. 8 names remain rigs never located. The Freight Cold Case Task Force combs auction yards with LiDAR wands and ultraviolet paint guns. Every so often, a serial number blinks to life and another family's porch light clicks off. Will they clear the shelf? No one promises, but no one stops turning pages now that Morrison proved a chapter can close in its 26th year. OmniTrack's Sentinel pushed an over-the-air update last spring. If a tracker dies inside a 50-mile geofence of Walsenberg patrol cruisers, roll automatically. Drivers joke that Tommy is still dispatching from the Beyond Blueprints ghost rebooted the dot, but they keep their antennas tight and their coffee fresh. The porch bulb is gone, yet a soft glow still spills onto the step, each evening the screen of Sarah's tablet as she answers messages from new widows, new sisters, new sons. How long should I keep hoping? She types the same line Tommy wrote in every service log, check until checked. Then she closes the tablet, pours hot tea, and listens to I-25 traffic 40 miles east, a low, comforting thunder. That is the sound of America working, and it no longer stabs her heart. Ray Kowalski fishes Pueblo Reservoir 3 mornings a week. The red pin map is framed above his workbench. Grandkids use it for geography lessons. In marker on the glass, he scrawled 3 words solved by stubborn. He hopes some fresh patrol rookie will borrow the phrase. He hopes none will need it. Every man past 65 knows the creeping fear of becoming invisible. Kids grown CB traffic, dwindled names fading off dispatch rosters. Tommy's story flips that script. It says a life lived straight can echo louder than the engine that carried it. Old hands feel it when they thumb the satellite ping, when they tap the blue parking stall at Crossroads, when they wrap stiff fingers around a steering wheel and think, one more safe mile for Blueprint. If you wander the Colorado State Patrol Rotunda at closing time, lights dim except for the Peterbilt display, you'll notice something new, a brass plaque no bigger than a cigarette pack mounted under the glove box. Cargo Manifest abridged 43 crates electronics. 1 lesson in vigilance, 1 testimony to loyalty. 1 reason to call home. 4 lines, 3 check marks, 1 cross. A perfect audit of a journey that cost a life but saved dozens more. The sunset ribbon ahead will end, every driver knows it. What matters is the mirror what you dragged out of the dark for the next rig rolling your wake. Tommy's odometer froze in 1997, yet his mileage keeps climbing in the safety briefings, the podcast, the porch light swapped for GPS beacons. So when the dashboard clock hits 21:00 tonight, make the call. Someone's listening coffee, going cold, ready to sleep easy because you kept the ritual alive. And down some moon-silver stretch of I-25, a ghost Peterbilt merges with starlight signal, steady tracking alive, homebound at last.